Hi everybody, a student has asked a question about one of the multiple choice questions in the textbook, and it's how to calculate the cross-price elasticity of demand. This is question 4 from chapter 3, and the question is basically this. It gives you a scenario. It says that when the price of chicken, this is chicken meat, when the price of chicken increases by 8%, this leads to an increase in the quantity demanded of beef by 10%. And it's asking you to calculate the cross-price elasticity of demand. That is, it's asking you to calculate the coefficient that represents the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of beef to a change in the price of an entirely different product. Not in the price of beef, but in the price of a different product, chicken. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, with any calculation of elasticity, we're going to put the effect over the cause. So in this case, the effect is the change in the quantity demanded of beef. The cause is the change in the price of chicken. So we're going to represent it by this ratio. So that's straightforward enough. All we need to do is to plug in the numbers. So we've got the 10% increase in the demand for beef due to, divided by, the 8% increase in the price of chicken. Notice that it's an increase in the demand for beef, so it's a positive 10%, and it's an increase in the price of chicken, so that's a positive 8%. When you divide a positive by a positive, you're going to get a positive number. So when we divide 10 by 8 or 5 by 4, we're going to get the cross-price elasticity of demand coefficient of 1.25. So that's pretty straightforward. Maybe I'll just say a little bit more about that. We can then say, well, what does that number mean exactly, this coefficient mean? We can express that coefficient in the sentence, for a 1%, and this is the way you interpret all these kind of coefficients, for a 1% increase in the price of chicken, there was a 1.25% increase, because it's positive, increase in the quantity demanded of beef. That's what this 1.25 means. 1% increase in the price of chicken leads to a 1.25% increase in the quantity demanded of beef. So we can say that beef is cross-price elastic. It's responsive to a change in the price of chicken. And it's a positive relationship between these two variables. Why is that? Well, we can deduce now that it's most likely because, from the perspective of the consumers of meat, that chicken meat and beef meat, well, beef meat is beef, okay, are substitutes. That is, when the price of chicken goes up, people decrease, they stop buying as much chicken, and they replace it, they substitute it with beef instead. And therefore the demand for quantity demanded of beef goes up as a result. Okie-doke. So that is the answer to that question. Oh, obviously, none of this applies to, for example, vegetarians or vegans. They are not participants in the meat market. So when the price of chicken goes up, in the case of vegetarians, it has no impact for them on the quantity demanded of beef, because they're not buying chicken in the first place, so they're not going to switch over to beef. Okay? Alright, that's that.